guys, MegaPineTree here, and welcome to episode 2 of How I Play Objective-Wise. Now, before I get started with the gameplay, I just wanted to give you guys a brief little intro on what goes on and what the build-up to this actual game is. And so, basically, Lord JearBear, GamingFeud, and my buddy SmirkyDigiwave and I were playing a couple games of Domination, and SmirkyDigiwave, we were playing this one game of Radiation Domination, and we completely got schooled. We got murdered. It just hurt us, and we were just like, gosh dang, I can't believe we lost. But yeah, so we were not very happy about that, and SmirkyDigiwave somehow left the game and then joined back up with us. So then we decided after the game to just back out, pick him up, and rejoin a Domination lobby. So we did that, and guess what? It put us back in the same lobby with the people that completely murdered us, and they picked the same game type or same map for the lobby, and so that's how we ended up on this Radiation map. And so without further ado, here it is, and let's get started. Alright, so first off, as you see, I decided to go with the M14, not knowing that this was the same lobby that we just came out of. So I don't know, I felt like just joking around. But then once I checked my stats and everything, I realized that I do not want to be using this gun. I need to be using a more comfortable gun, or a gun that I'm more comfortable with. So I do switch to the FAMAS, though it wasn't a class that I normally would use, because I equipped the FAMAS, but I ran out of time, so I was not able to equip all the attachments and stuff that I wanted. But I'm not going to complain about that. But basically, I tried to give it a go for a bit with the M14, see if I could hold them off, but ultimately I went to the FAMAS because I knew that these guys were a handful, and I was not going to, or the M14 was not going to cut it. So when you want to play serious and you have serious opponents, you're going to want to be with classes that you're comfortable with, and not be with mess around classes or joke around classes, or else you're definitely not going to win. And as you see, these guys throughout the game are just very unpredictable, and they always come up behind you or come up where you're not looking, or when you look somewhere then look away, they come out of that place that you're just looking at, and it's a pain in the butt. But basically, the objective, what we usually did, and you saw in the very beginning, we hit that A and B cap, but then they completely turned it around. But normally in a normal Domination game where the enemy teams isn't very good, we usually just hit that A and B cap, or that spawn flag and B cap, and just hold those down and then win the game. That's basically all you need to do for a Domination game. That's the most efficient way. You don't want to go for the trip cap, because basically if you do that, then the enemy spawn's going to be all wonky, and for all you know, they'll be spawning behind you or spawning in your spawn and taking your flag, and then everybody's going to be frustrated at you, and why are you taking that flag, because that you just messed up the flow of things, and you're getting unnecessary kills towards your team, unnecessary deaths, I guess. And so that's normally what we would do. But unfortunately, these opponents were a lot better than, I wouldn't say that all the opponents that we played against were awful, but these ones were just higher ups. They were very good, and they really had us on our toes. And like I said in the very beginning, that we didn't do good, and so we had excuse me, we had to go back into this lobby against these guys that we just played against, and our morale is low, so we know we're not gonna win. We're just like, we're definitely not gonna win, but we're gonna try, because this could be a second chance. This could be our way of getting there, or getting back at them. So we didn't want to give up too much. We still were going to try and get to them, hence why I pulled out a stronger class. But basically throughout this game, you're going to see me trying to hit that B flag, because the B flag is the most valuable target. Basically, it's what you need. It's like one of the most important flags. I mean, you can win a game on A and C, but that's not a good spawn system, because the enemies will be spawning in between you guys, and I mean, you can get them in crossfires and everything, but overall you want to keep them in their spawn, so you always want to go for a B and spawn cap, and so I'm just constantly going to be working on this B flag. And normally how I play is that I just continuously go for that B flag. And you see behind here is a bad habit of mine. I switched to my handgun to the sprint to cover, and so then I didn't expect those guys to pop out. I was able to take out that one guy, but the other guy got me because I had to reload. But yeah, that was a grenade fail. Anyway, what I do is I like to hit B flag as much as I can when we're trying to get it. And if I keep dying and I can't do anything, and I get it from like each direction, what I do is I normally hit it from one direction. If I die that direction, I do a different direction. And if I keep dying from like my changes of directions, I go for their spawn flag, or I go for, so like right now I've been trying to get B, but they had the 3 caps, so we decided to go for the outside flags, and that's why we got C. And so right now I'm going to try and go for A, because I've been trying to go for B, but everybody's been on top of that, and so, or the enemies have been sitting around that, and so there's no way to get B. And so I'm just trying to get those spawn caps or spawn flags, so we can really get our feet on the ground and start working towards either getting their attention away from B, or that's usually why I go for the spawn flags. I'm like mixing up what I'm trying to say, but basically, if you want to get B and you already have one flag, you want to go for the spawn flag, because generally that's gonna get the enemies off of B and go for the flag that you're trying to get to, and that'll allow you to get to B flag. And so that's normally a tactic that we like to do when we're being overrun, is that we like to hit their spawn flag. But normally we'll do the whole AB or CB and just hold those down, but it's just a little tactic. And so with the trip cap, we're just trying to get whatever flag we can get. And so basically you see us just run back and forth to all sorts of flags, and yeah, we need to catch it. And so at this point though, we're all thinking the only way to win is to capture all 3 flags. Who cares about the spawn switching? Who cares about anything? We need to win, and that's where the trip cap for our side really comes into play, is that we need to really get that. And you see I captured A all by myself, and now I'm gonna work on holding down B, because I'm hoping that my teammates are trying to get to C, but you can't. One thing is, when you're with randoms and everything, you can't really rely on them. I mean, you gotta hope that they're good enough to really understand how to hold down each flag and everything, but some people don't, so you can't really rely on them. And so that's why you have to take things into your own hands, and that's why I decided to go to C and capture that, so we can hold down those. But then again, you still have to rely on everybody, because you have to. The bad thing about the C or the triple cap is that you spread your forces very, very thin, and so the right amount of enemy maneuvers will really overrun whatever part they want to take. But luckily, for whatever reason, I think we had a Huey up or something that was able to keep the enemies off, and we had people spawn trapping them inside the building, but we were able to keep them off long enough to where we can capture this 3 cap. And luckily, somehow, I gathered the abilities of a decent COD player to hold this flag down on my own and really take care of these people. And you saw that tactic that I did right there, is that I looked at the C flag, and that's a good tactic for those of you who don't know in anything, where you see those little pentagon shape, you know, C, B, and A little icons. If they start flickering or blinking, then you know that an enemy's taking it, and this is good for headquarters or domination. And so if you want to know if there's enemies there and you don't have a UAV up or anything, then just always look if it's flickering, and if you do, and if it is, then there's enemies there. So that's always a good tactic to use, instead of running in there with your head cut off and just spraying randomly and not really knowing where the enemy is or if the enemy is there at all. Excuse me. And so we've been holding down C very well, and my team, all of us have been holding down B and A. So we're really thinking our morale's getting boosted now. We're like, wow, we might turn this around, or we might just, you know, make them rage or make them be like, wow, these guys are better than they thought they were, even if we lost. But our morale was just getting up, and you see here, I'm just really holding down this C flag, really trying to pick these guys off, and really make sure that we get the maximum amount of points that we can get. And right there, I wasn't just staring off into space. I actually lagged and completely got murdered, and so we lost the C flag right there. But I still wanted to maintain that hold, and so I was really working towards that C flag and really holding towards that, or working towards that trip cap, because I wanted to make sure that we got the most points, like I said. And so I see here I'm by myself again, but now the enemy's attention is on that C flag, and so they're going to be really pushing towards that, and which is not a good thing, because it's going to be very hard to get the C flag back. But there's really nothing you can do except for really try and push and get it, and just keep pushing at it, because the more you keep pushing at it, the more likely you're to get it. And right here, that little tip, I think it's right here, we'll find out. Yeah, right here, that little tip that I gave you in the first episode of how to play, when it comes to RC cars, don't move. You see that? You see how close the RC car was to me? I just froze, and it could have killed me, but it didn't, because it didn't see me. So that's the absolute best tip that I can give you when it comes to RC cars, is don't run around. Try and just stay in one place and hide. Yeah. And so as you see, our bars are getting a lot closer to the enemies, and so we're really catching up behind them. And I think it gets to the point where we're at like 181 and they're at 183, because we have that trip cap, because we really held them down. So yeah, 181 and 183, and they captured A, so we're holding the 2 flags, but we evened out the score, and we're just jumping for joy. We're like a bunch of schoolgirls who just got an A+ on their test, and we're just happy as hell. And our morale is just completely boosted, and we're like, wow, we can definitely win this. And that's what we go on to do, is win it and completely dominate. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this pretty awesome comeback. You have to understand the situation that we were in. No morale, no nothing. We were just like, we gave up. A lot of us gave up like after the first quarter of the game. And so I don't know, I thought it was pretty impressive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later.